As content creators, we're always trying to find the right balance between a really great user experience that makes users want to stay on our website, engage more, and come back, right? And as well as make search engines want to recommend the content on our websites. But also, we need to be able to make a living from them, otherwise it's probably not really worth our time. And striking that balance when it comes to monetization, and today we're specifically talking about ads, can be a real trick. So today I want to walk you through that. Hello again, my friends. You really stepped up for me a couple of weeks ago when I asked if you guys would just comment and let me know if the videos we're making are really helpful to you or not. And so I want to thank you again. I just can't thank you enough because that really did a lot for me. So today I want to continue to help, right? So today we're going to talk a bit about monetizing our websites, and I want to talk about ads and how we try to strike that balance between having enough ads on our website and putting them in the right places, but not having so many ads that it's a really poor user experience. So let's get right into that now. I am gonna show a few specific things using Ezoic, mostly because that's what we have on a bunch of our websites right now, but I'm not trying to give a specific endorsement. Mediavine is another fantastic ads company. Some people have a ton of success even with Google AdSense. Raptive, who used to be AdThrive, they do a good job. Those ones, Mediavine and Raptive, those require you to have much higher levels of traffic than a lot of you watching this video right now. And so it's not going to apply as much. Also, when you want to make a change, you just tell them, I want to make a change. I don't want an ad here, or can we place an ad here instead? And they help you through that process. It's usually not quite as straightforward as, let me go ahead and make some quick changes. With Ezoic, there's a lot more that's kind of under your control. The kind of, I think, will come into play. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a minute. So I'm gonna show a few specific things. First of all, I wanna talk about some of the highest paying ad opportunities and which ones I do and don't use. So here in Ezoic Ads, under ad types, you'll see native ads. This is like in your content itself, often at the very bottom, you'll see where after all of the written content, then all of a sudden there's a bunch of, it kind of looks like related content, right? Other articles that you could read, but usually they're not actually from the website that you're on. They're just from other places on the web. Those are native ads. They're ads that are literally just designed to try to get people to go to other content on other people's websites. But it's not one that I love because oftentimes you're gonna see a lot of really spammy, really crummy content, stuff that's very clickbaity, stuff that is very inaccurate, and it's all gonna show up. And to me, that kind of reflects on the website itself. When I see that on a website that's trying to be a reputable sort of news type website, to me, it's kind of a turnoff. I'm like, really? You don't have a bunch of other articles on your website that you'd rather have me go read instead? And that's the thing there. I would rather have my own related content and feature that at least first, and then maybe place those ads below. With Ezoic here, we have the option to include up to PG-13 level ads, or you could say, let's keep it PG. And we've seen some fairly racy ads that come through those. You've probably seen those on the internet. And so what they'll consider PG-13 is often a little more racy than probably what I want to show on most of my brand websites. But it really depends on your website, kind of the feel of your website, the tone that you're going for, as well as just, you know, if you don't have a ton of other content that you're trying to point them to on your own site and people are kind of coming, reading one article and leaving, then yeah, maybe turn these ones on. They estimate you'll increase your revenue about 10% by doing that. Vignette ads, I don't turn these on. Oh, they are turned on this particular website. I'm turning them back off. I really hate vignette ads. Vignette ads are those pop-ups that happen between pages. So you're reading a blog post, you click another link to go to another page, and what happens? In between, an ad pops up, covers the screen. You can't get to the new content until you watch the ad, or at least wait 5 or 6 seconds for the little X to appear so you can close out of it. For years, the Coalition for Better Ads has treated this as a bad ad experience, a negative user experience, and they don't recommend it. And when it comes to user experience, even some of the ranking factors that Google's using are based a lot off of those recommendations from the Coalition for Better Ads. I don't like to use them. They do say that you can earn a lot, and that makes sense because showing one ad for a dedicated amount of time, it's going to get all of that person's attention. So companies are paying more to have these ads placed. So once again, if you're not getting a ton of follow-through traffic or your blog content is very transactional, people read a blog post or two and then they leave. You don't have anything to sell them. Maybe vignette ads are okay for you. I know from my experience, My wife tells me the same thing. She's probably a lot stricter on this than I am. When we see a Vignette ad, usually we just close out. We're done. And you just lost a page view from me where you could have shown me 12 other ads on the next page. Let's talk a little bit about these auto insert ads. This is not a specific like industry-wide ad type like Vignette ads are. These are some of the AI placeholders that Ezoic will test out for you. So essentially, the way that these ads work with Ezoic is that they put a bunch of placeholders on your website where they could show an ad. They don't always show an ad in every placeholder. In fact, there are often placeholders that don't have an ad in them at all. And you don't even see on the front end that there could have been an ad there. And what Ezoic is doing is they're testing which of those placeholders are earning you the most money over time. And so the longer you have ads running and the more traffic you get over time, the more they're gonna be able to optimize that. Well, AI placeholders is essentially where the AI is saying, hey, here's another place that you didn't put a placeholder, but this could make you even more money. And so then it'll put a placeholder there and then start showing ads there to see how it does. And if it doesn't work well, it'll just move to a different spot and put an ad there. At least that's the way that I've come to understand it. What I don't love about this is it does take away my control, my ability to be able to say, I never want an ad to appear in this space. We'll see those when we look at the front end in just a few minutes. Next, let's talk about anchor ads. Now, anchor ads, these I do like. This is an ad that appears at the bottom of the screen. It's usually small, not very intrusive, and it's just there the whole time. So as a user scrolls through the website, that ad just stays at the bottom of the page. That I'm okay with. Those ads actually tend to be one of the highest earning ad placements on all of our websites. The reason for that is because that same ad will display for several seconds. Oftentimes, as you scroll by, you'll see a little bit of an ad, and then you'll scroll by, you'll see the bottom half of it, and then you'll move on. As you see at least a certain percentage of that ad at any given period of time, you make some money. And the more time that passes, the more money you make to a point. There reaches a point where you've made all the money you're gonna make from that ad. So here's what these companies do with those anchored ads that are at the bottom of the page. As that time passes, once they reach that place where you've earned the most money you're gonna make from it, it loads a new ad. And you're always gonna earn the money from that ad as long as people stay on that page long enough to pass that time. Whereas there are other ads that if people scroll by too fast, you'll earn no money from. We turn this on and I leave it on for desktop, mobile, and tablet. And I do allow them some flexibility on the sizing. I haven't really noticed a lot of problem with them getting too big. Let's talk about side rails. These are ads that are way out to the side of the screen. We'll typically notice these a lot on the desktop. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This over here on the far left, that is a side rail ad. Kind of like those anchored ads, it stays with you the whole time. I don't really have a problem with these. I prefer to have it only on the left side typically because I don't want to detract from the main content, but also things that I have in the sidebar on the right. So I'm gonna go ahead in this case on Suggested by Locals and I'm gonna turn off the right side rail. Next is the sticky sidebar. The sticky sidebar is an ad like these that you're seeing here in the sidebar, but typically it's the one at the very bottom. And once you reach it, it stays with you. And it's like I said before, you have all these placeholders, but Ezoic's not gonna load all of them on every page. Sometimes you're gonna see like what I'm seeing here, what looks like a lot of ads. But other times you're not gonna see everything that you've enabled. Floating video, we just saw, I have it enabled right now. It's this little video kind of here at the bottom that can play. And by default, the audio is turned off. People have to click on it to have the audio play. You can click this little button to unmute it. But those ads are pretty good earners as well because since there's video and things are moving, they tend to be more eye-catching. So again, people pay more money to get these ads to place. And having this little floating video down here, I prefer over having a video in the middle of the content because once again, it stays with you as you scroll through the page. So those are my preferences and the reasons why. You might have a little bit different reasons and therefore your preferences may be a little bit different. I also want to talk a little bit about ad placements now and what makes for a good user experience. I'm here on Suggested by Locals. I'm here on the home page. I have a side rail over here. I have this floating video. I have an anchored ad there. I also have this ad here way up at the top. And then here, like, there's a little blog post excerpt right there, and then an ad before the view post button. I don't like it when on any blog archive page, they place an ad literally in the middle of this block. I would be okay with it appearing in between two of my blog posts, but having it before the view post button, I don't like that. And they've done that a couple of times. So what do I do when I see ad placements I don't like? Well, with Ezoic, it's kind of nice. They've made it easy. There's a Chrome extension. I can click this button here, and then I can activate my placeholders. Now it's gonna show me what placeholders exist on this page. You'll notice here that there's an AI placeholder at the very top of the page, which means they could put an ad there, but there's also a regular placeholder at the top of this page, which they've been placing an ad there too. So let's say I don't want this top of page placeholder to show up on this page, or maybe I don't want to show up on my website at all, the top of page AI placeholder. So I'm gonna say don't show it on this page. That's because my home page should be the page where I want to direct people to the main call to action that I have for them on my website. So if I have a kind of a normal blog, I'm going to want to try to direct them to my best content, or the content that's the most valuable to me to have people reading. Those might be articles that just are very well monetized with ads, the ones that make the most money. They might be articles where I'm selling an info product, or they just might be really good articles that are very pillar and foundational to the content of my website, and they interlink out to a bunch of other articles. That way those users will be more likely to engage with as much of my content as possible. But if I can get a user to look at multiple pages on my website, I'm gonna make more money than if people come look at one page, get turned off by the ads halfway through an article, and leave and never come back. And when people have that sort of behavior, it absolutely impacts the rankings of your websites and the organic traffic you're gonna get going forward. The better user experience means a lot more overall traffic, which means that even with fewer ads, I get a lot more ad views and a lot more revenue. The homepage is particularly important. What I wanna do is I wanna feature specific categories, specific articles, and try to get people to go there, as well as featuring the most recent content. Notice that all of these placeholders here, these are all AI placeholders. Why is that? Because I already removed all the normal placeholders from the homepage. I don't want a bunch of extra ads on the homepage. So I'm gonna remove this AI placeholder and this AI placeholder, but I'll go ahead and leave the one at the very bottom below the footer. I'm less worried about that. So notice I've removed basically everything. I also don't like one at the very top of the page. The homepage is not a place to fill with ads to try to make the most money from people hanging out on the homepage. The homepage is where we want to steer people to the best and most valuable content on our website. If you want people to buy your info product, you point them to the info product. If you want people to schedule a consultation with you, that's where you talk about it, right there on the homepage. Get them there, get them interested in it, and then direct them over to a sales page. So I'm going to actually remove this placeholder from the very top too, remove it from this page. So at this point, the only ads that are gonna show up are the one at the very bottom, as well as the anchored ad, the floating video, and the side rail, which we could also turn off if we really want to. The things I'm talking about here on the homepage are also, for me at least, the things that I do on all of my really high value pages. If there's a very well monetized page, I'm not necessarily talking about a good product review blog post, but I'm talking about if I have a sales page for any sort of a product, I'm gonna remove as many ads as I can. I want to direct people's attention to my product. I'll make way more money if they buy that product than I will from a couple of ads. The same would be true for like if I have a really good tools page or a resources page where I link out to the recommendations that I tend to make across my website. I link to those products that are the most beneficial for my audience. It's maybe a good idea to make sure you don't have any placeholders in places where you really wouldn't want an ad to show. But it's also important to set sort of the ad focus for your website as well. Here's what I'm talking about. On your Ezoic account, if you click on optimization goals here under Ezoic ads, you can choose here. Do you want it balanced? Do you want it revenue focused or user experience focused? We had ours on balanced and you saw how many ads, like I said, about every 3 paragraphs. It's a lot. If I switch it to user experience focused, what it's gonna do is it's gonna fill in a lower percentage of those placeholders on average. With the balance focused and the ad settings the way that I have them, my average EPMV, that's earnings per milli or per thousand visits. So that's sessions, not page views. With those exact settings on this website has been $17.57. Hopefully that gives you an idea of about the kind of income that you could earn from that level of ads versus if you decide to remove some. And this number will probably go down a little bit, but the ads that I removed I think are gonna help me overall to get more traffic, have a little bit less of an impact from those ads when it comes to user experience. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's your focus? On your particular website, are you choosing to be more user focused? Are you choosing to be more revenue focused from an ad standpoint? Or are you choosing to try to stay somewhere in the middle, fairly balanced? And why? Why is it that you're choosing that? Is there something about your particular industry that you think that makes the most sense for you? I'd just love to have a little bit more discussion around this. I'd also love to hear from you. What other things would you love to hear more about from us here on this channel? We are all about the testing. We have a bunch of websites, and we're working on a bunch of amazing projects to try to help you better know how to succeed when it comes to using content to make a great income on the internet. Thanks for being here, and thanks again for commenting, and I hope to see you in the next video.